Basement of La Penta, it's WICR.
The great city of Cleveland has waited a very long time to hang a banner in one of their arenas, and that time has finally come as we are on the verge of the NBA season returning to us. Welcome back to the Sports Vault, everyone. Jersey Joe Archino back here, and I think certainly the excitement has just been continuing to build more and more and more, and now we are finally at the point where we are here. We have arrived at our destination. The NBA season has returned and it is upon us. And I think obviously there are so many storylines to go after. There just the off season was filled with so much drama from the contracts, from the monumental money that the sport has been getting pumped into it, to obviously Kevin Durant joining the Warriors. There's so many things that happened, but I think one of the biggest of all is kind of course, LeBron. And I've heard a lot of people say that LeBron this season is going to be playing without pressure for the first time in his career. And I agree with that to an extent, but I think also at the same regard, LeBron will never play without pressure. The moment he came into the NBA, he had pressure on his back, and until the moment he leaves the NBA, he will always have pressure on his back. Now, I think the greatest weight of all has been taken off of his back, certainly. I mean, we all understood for a player of LeBron's caliber to fall into the hands of the team from the place that he's from, that doesn't happen. It just for a fairy tale like that to fall into place, things like that don't happen in professional sports, but it did with LeBron. And then he left, and it seemed like that fairy tale just poof, it just went away before you could even blink. But then what happens? He goes to Miami. He becomes the villain of the NBA. He gets to 4 straight finals. He wins 2 of them. But then the fairy tale, it reappears. It pops back up. And then last season, we all understand how things ended. But I think more than anything, when you look at LeBron this season, it's the pressure he puts on himself now that is going to continue to carry with him until the end of his career. And I still think we all look at LeBron, where he is physically, what he's going to do. Obviously, Tyronn Lue is going to be monitoring his minutes a little bit more carefully this season because we all look at the East, and there are teams in the East who certainly got better and are going to come into the season stronger. The Knicks, we all are really excited to see what they're going to look like. I think the Pacers obviously put together a great offseason. A lot of other teams, the Magic, are probably going to be better. I think we look at Charlotte, we're not too sure, but the East and then Chicago, obviously, but largely the East, we know what the East is. It's Cleveland. It's just a matter of when they get there. They have ran through this. And I think to me, as someone who's really followed LeBron's career so closely, obviously he had such a hard time getting to the finals his first times in Cleveland. Obviously because the talent around him just wasn't there. But these last 2 trips to the finals for LeBron have been the easiest of his career. Even in Miami, when LeBron was playing in the East, constantly was getting really tough matchups against the Pacers. But those tough matchups just haven't been there. They struggled a little bit against Toronto last season, but largely these last 2 years, LeBron's Cavs have walked to the finals. And one of those years was without Kyrie Irving, very limited, and without Kevin Love, aside from a game or here and there with the Celtics. But largely now, the pressure that we're talking about with LeBron is the pressure that he puts on himself, and he's been adamant about it. He's chasing the ghost of the GOAT, and that's Michael Jordan. And I think LeBron in his own right, what he has been able to accomplish, getting to 6 straight NBA Finals, and I know we all like to compare at every twist and turn MJ and LeBron, but here's the thing you still have to kind of take into account, and I think people forget sometimes. At the same age at this point in their careers, they had both won the same amount of NBA championships. LeBron has gotten to more at this point in his career, but they have both, at this point of their careers, at the age of 31, won the equal amount of championships in 3. And I think with LeBron, you still look at the window that he has. Will he win 3 more to equal Jordan at 6? I think 3 is a little bit of a stretch. 2, you're getting a little bit warmer. I do think absolutely he will win at least one more before it's all said and done, which would bring him to 4. And by no stretch of the imagination would that be a damper or hindrance on his all-time legacy at all. We all know where he is. You're at the end of the day, he's going to finish in that conversation of top 3. He just is. You're going to have Jordan, LeBron, and then everyone else is probably going to be able to put someone in there. Russell, Chamberlain, Magic. You put who you want there. But I think undoubtedly he secured his spot already. There's no question about that. I even think the argument is able to be made that he's the greatest of all time. But that's another debate for another day. But I think right now, at the task at hand, the Cavaliers are set to obviously defend their title. And the Warriors, of course, are going to be the biggest test on the map. And look, I think the second Kevin Durant, and even maybe without Kevin Durant, we all kind of had tunnel vision looking forward to a repeat 3 years in a row of the same two teams going to the finals. And I do think, once again, that is very well going to be the case. The Warriors going up against the Cavaliers. And, of course, we're seeing all the starting lineups going around. And the Warriors, I mean, you can't help but look at the lineup they're putting out there and just really tremble at what it's going to look like. Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, Zaza Pachulia right now at center. But I think one of the things you still have to look at with this Warriors team, and I think the second Kevin Durant made that decision, it's the first thing that went into my head, is this thing is not going to be as easy as you think it's going to be. When you have this team now that's really going to revolve around 3 very ball-dominating players in Curry, in Thompson, and then in Durant, there's going to be a little bit of growing pains between the 3 of them. Now, obviously, Draymond Green, I think, is one of those guys where it just fits no matter what. He's that physical guy. He can shoot. He can really do whatever you want. He's so versatile. So I don't really think he's going to struggle adjusting into it, but I do think you're going to see the growing pains happen for a while with Curry, with Thompson, and, of course, with Kevin Durant now on board. And one of the interesting things that I have heard is, what's going to happen when you get into that situation? Who takes the last shot for this team? And I think sometimes arguments like that work themselves out because in the rhythm of a game, you're going to just put the ball in the hands of the guy who's got the best opportunity. I think on the Cavaliers, LeBron, Kyrie, whoever takes that shot, I've got no problem with it. I don't think anybody on that team really has a problem with it. But I think to automatically put the title in the hands of the Warriors is just kind of going a little bit overboard. Because again, there are going to be growing pains. This is a team that doesn't have that physicality. I mean, never forget when LeBron got back to the finals with the Cavaliers, the first season he came back, Kyrie Irving got hurt after game 1. You really saw what the difference in that series was and why Cleveland was able to stay in that series. It's because they had the physicality. And without Bogut now, and I think we saw Bogut was kind of maybe one of those unsung heroes for those Warriors teams with how physical he played. Andre Iguodala is one of the biggest reasons they were able to win that title because of the way he played that physical style of defense. And now that's gotten away from them a little bit. They still have a great, tremendous depth, probably the best depth in the league. But again, I'm not automatically shooing them in. I do think the Cavaliers will defend the title. I think it will go back-to-back. And my biggest reasons for that are the big 3. I think obviously LeBron now, he's still playing with pressure, but not the same level of pressure. He knows who he is now. He knows he has to take care of his body in different ways now. I think number 2, Kyrie Irving, obviously. To me, Kyrie, the shot he made closing out Game 7 was a testament to how far he continues to grow in his game. And remember last season, Kyrie Irving really didn't come back until after the second half began. So you've got a fully healthy Kyrie Irving coming off incredible confidence this summer in winning gold, and then in the NBA Finals, and the shot that he made, and just the way he continues to be a difference maker on both ends of the floor. Kyrie, to me, really is going to be the catalyst of this team, and I know that's hard to say with LeBron, but we all know how young Kyrie is and how much better he continues to get. I really think the leap forward he will continue to make in his game will pay a huge, huge dividend. And then Kevin Love. Kevin Love, to me, really helped his cause greatly in that in the Game 7, Game 6 last season with how well he played, being the Kevin Love we know him to be, hanging around under the basket, banging people out, getting rebounds, fighting, being scrappy. And I think this season, one of the reporters, I forget who it was, but I think they talked to him, and he basically told them last season he was kind of in a difficult spot trying to recover from his injury. He wasn't able to put the muscle on that he wanted to put on. But now that he's been healthy this offseason, there hasn't been those complications. He has been able to build that back up and go through his lifting program and do what he wants to do. So he's going to come back with that muscle, with that strength. And I think, look, the talk was always, how are the Cavaliers going to get Kevin Love to fit into this thing? How they always were trying to get the game to come to him instead of just letting it be natural. And when the game started to naturally come, you saw Kevin Love kind of return. Now, he's never going to be back to his Minnesota self because that's just not possible with the way that the Big Three and the team as itself works now. But I do think that you can see Kevin Love be that physical enforcer, which is all that they need. They need his rebounding. They don't necessarily always need. He can stretch the floor, and that's an important dynamic for him. But largely what they need him for is his toughness, his ability to bang around the rim, and his ability to finish and collect loose balls. And I do think that's something that now he's been able to put the muscle back, he will do. And I think another component is the three-point shooting. Obviously, bringing in Mike Dunleavy is going to help be a huge addition to this team. They already have guys who can shoot, and I think one of the reasons why you started to see the struggles for Cleveland in that finals was the three-point balls just weren't going their way. They did eventually come their way, and J.R. Smith is back in the picture, and J.R. Smith has largely been able to stay focused on this Cleveland team, and a big part of that is the leadership of LeBron. But now that you've got JR, you've got Mike Dunleavy, you've got some veterans, you've got a good balance on this team of older guys who've come back, and then obviously LeBron leading the way with his presence, Kyrie's youth. It's such a good balance, and I think when you look at it, I think the Warriors will win undoubtedly eventually. They will secure a title, and Kevin Durant will get his, but not in year one. I think in year one, it's about learning to play together, and it won't be as easy as they think, and that will allow LeBron to get that back-to-back titles in Cleveland. But eventually, maybe even not this season, but the next one, the Warriors will get it done. But this season, to me, the Cavaliers will start it by hanging a banner, and they will open the next season with hanging up another banner. Until the next episode, though, Jersey Joe Archino here at the Sports Vault. You can follow me on Twitter at Joe Archino and on Instagram, Jersey_Joe_Archino, and I'll catch everybody in the next episode.